guys, welcome to TKOR. We wanted to show you this process of how we came up with this idea and deep dive into photosynthesis and plant conversion into CO2 into oxygen. When it comes to oxygen production and the removal of CO2, we really put emphasis on plants and their oxygen production. Plants remove CO2 and produce oxygen through photosynthesis. I mean, we all know the equation. 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O plus energy yields C6H12O6 plus 6 O2. In normal human terms, that's carbon dioxide plus water plus energy from light produces glucose and oxygen. The number 6 is incredibly important in this equation because it takes 6 molecules of water to make 1 molecule of glucose and 6 molecules of oxygen. Photosynthesis is a speedy process. In fact, photosynthesis takes less than 2 seconds. The slowest part of this equation is when the carbon is turned into carbohydrates and the oxygen is released. That lasts barely a second. The other stage of photosynthesis, such as converting sunlight into energy and fueling the chemical process, takes only a millisecond to finish. Photosynthesis may be the most important chemical reaction on this planet because it releases oxygen and traps 100 million tons of carbon each year. Plants are wizards when it comes to photosynthesis. Their entire structure is built to support this process. The plant's roots are designed to absorb water, which is transported by a special vascular system called the xylem, so it can be available to the photosynthetic stem and leaves. Plants leave certain chemical pores called the stomata that open and close to control the gas exchange of CO2 and H2O and limit water loss, which is why high oxygen producing plants have a waxing coating that minimizes this water loss. Okay guys, we've got our microscope all set up. Let's see if we can check out some of these plant stomata and see if we can see this process happening. Even if we can't, it's gonna be super cool to get up close and personal with these leaves. Oh, check that out. That's so cool. And each one of those little blocks is a cell. To me, that's the crazy part. Here, I wanna put this down. So this is super far out. Look at the cool difference between the light coloredness of it and the dark coloredness. That is awesome. Check out that waxy coating. That's cool. That's so cool. You can literally see the waxy coating on here. Cross section. So in there is where the xylem is, where that mouse is on the screen, and it transports all that goodness throughout the whole entire plant. Look at that waxy coat. It's cool because on this one, you can actually look at the underside of it, and if we get it in the light, if you look at it, you can see the structure of this plant incredibly well. Oh, it's so beautiful. Plants are wizards when it comes to photosynthesis. Their whole structure is designed for this whole process. And check out that root system. This root system is the whole thing sustaining this plant. Look at the roots. It genuinely blows my mind that this whole system has engineered itself to be sustainable. I mean, from taking in water in the roots to how it produces oxygen to how it takes in CO2, this little guy and the trees around us, everything have engineered themselves to be sustainable and to sustain their own lives. I mean, it's amazing. Photosynthesis is what makes this planet livable. Most people are aware that photosynthesis releases the oxygen that animals need to survive, but the other important component of this reaction is the carbon fixation. Photosynthetic organisms remove carbon dioxide from the air. Carbon dioxide is transformed into other organic compounds that support life. While animals exhale carbon dioxide, trees and algae act as a carbon sink, keeping most of the elements out of our surrounding air. Plants take that and in turn use nearly 0.1 to 8% of the sunlight they receive and turn that into their own usable energy. That means only 30% of the oxygen on our planet is made from plants or land-based organisms. So to do our experiment, we built 3 different airtight containers to put our own plants into the test. First, we built our own container. And as you can see, the problem here is that we used wood. And we weren't getting our airtight seal no matter how hard we tried. So look at this. It's a fish tank. Of course, CO2 is not going to be absorbed into the glass or this metal material. So we flipped this guy over, we caulked it down, and we created that airtight seal that we'd been looking for that trapped our CO2 inside. This gave us great results and we were thrilled with how our experiment worked. So in all, was it a perfect experiment? Not exactly, but we did learn a lot about how these plants do scrub CO2 out of their environment that they're in, and for that, I give this experiment a huge thumbs up. If you want to see the results and see how much CO2 is actually scrubbed out of these CO2-rich environments, make sure you head over to our main channel, and then you can check out the whole entire CO2 video.